Yo, what's up y'all? Today we are range testing the Meepo MLR. Might be a weird thing to do, but my P spec requires that we do a range test, so we're doing it today. And I don't really know what to expect. I don't expect a lot because this is a 16S 2P version of the MLR, and I've run it dry in one track session before, but we'll see how it goes. I've got the rear tires pumped to their normal pressure at 20 PSI and the front at 20 as well. Normally I run them a little softer, but I figured I would go square for this test. Since this is a track-focused race board, I'm going to be aiming for a higher 20-mile-an-hour average instead of the 15 that I normally aim for. And I'll be accelerating and braking more aggressively than normal. Don't really think this will make that much of a difference, but I might as well attempt to simulate a more accurate use case. Let's be real, no one is going on group rides with the MLR. That would be ridiculous, especially with the clearance that it has. I feel like taking an F1 car on a regular road. There's not very much ground clearance at all. So don't be surprised if you do take this on a normal road and end up scraping everywhere, because that's what I have done already. But in any case, I'm not really gonna make this a super detailed video. I'm just gonna update you guys at different points that I think are interesting. And then we will do a total at the end. And I'll make sure to capture what the battery cutoffs look like. The one benefit though, even though it's a small battery, is that if you're on a track, realistically, you're gonna be paying pretty close attention to what your battery powers out. So the likelihood of you getting stranded somewhere is pretty low. But I'll be back. I wanted to pop on for a second and just say that the throttle curve of the MLR is very much not conducive to riding like this. It's pretty twitchy, and the throttle, or the power is very deep into the throttle. So I have to hold the throttle most of the way just to keep cruising. And given that it's sort of like duty control, wherever you hold your finger is the exact speed it will be at. It won't like keep going. So you kind of have to hold your finger in the same exact spot the whole time, which is fine in a way, but it's not really great for riding when you want to like let off and then get back on. You go into the throttle, go into the throttle, oh, there it is. Same thing with the brakes. They're really deep in the curve, which is a little bit annoying, but we're gonna get this done. It'll be fine. Also, I don't really think that the width of this deck is great for group riding either. It's meant for stancing yourself, preparing to accelerate into a turn, not so much for doing long routes. Also, I will say we're already down 2 bars out of, is it 10? I think it's 2 out of 10. So we're already at 80%, which is why I brought my backup board on my back, because I didn't know if we would even make it past like a lap and a half. So I'll catch up with you guys soon. Also, I changed my mind. I'm gonna be targeting between 20 and 25 as the average, and we'll see what it comes out to. I just don't really think that there's a point in going much slower than that, because the only time you're going that slow on any real track is through the turns, and you're not really gonna be on the throttle then. So I figure we might as well just go ham on it and try and get an accurate idea of what it looks like to really slam the throttle on this thing for a long period of time. Alrighty, so we are done with 1 lap, and we're currently on 5 bars out of 10. So we used half the battery on 1 lap, which I believe is 7, let's see. Strava says 7.4 miles total. So yeah, that's why I brought my backup board because I'm pretty sure it's going to die on this next lap. So I'm going to get on with it and see what happens. I have been averaging pretty high speed. Main goal being that I'm trying to simulate a higher average wattage to sort of point this range test towards a track day, but it's a little different because track days I feel like would be more accurately measured in minutes rather than miles. I track my miles at the track, and I know that an average practice for me could be 17 to 25 miles, just depends on like what frequency I'm going out. But yeah, I think it's working so far. I want to say in this amount of distance on the track, I would probably be at a similar battery percentage. I have, like I said, taken this on the track quite a few times, so I think we're sitting pretty good right now. But I will catch back up with you guys either when we get to like a battery warning or the end of this next lap. Oh, and if you're wondering about like speed and punchiness, this is how far I have to go into the throttle before I get anything. Like a third of the way through. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier. Same thing with the brake. Brake, 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 brake. And then the hard stuff is at the bottom. But yeah, it's still decently punchy. Definitely a little bit less, but it can still hit 30 miles an hour and still enough to be competitive. But this gets into that range where I start getting worried about cutout. I don't think the ESC on my specific unit has that issue, but there was a version of the MLR, I think the earliest one, that had a different ESC in it and had cutout issues. So I have not experienced that with mine, fortunately, but when you're at a lower battery, I feel like there's a higher chance of the battery sagging and getting a brownout, but whatever, I'll be back. So we just got our first battery warning, ESC A voltage 25%. We're at 3 bars out of 10 now, and we're, by the remote, we're at 10.5 miles. I believe Strava said we were a little bit less than that, but I don't even think that I'm going to make it to the hill on this second loop. So we still have probably a mile to go. Yeah, we'll probably make it to the hill, but it's probably gonna die on the hill, which is really annoying. So that means I get to carry a 41-pound board on my back to get back to where I came from. But it is what it is. This is the life of range testing. And just so you're aware, when I ride with this ripple on my back, it's another like 15-ish pounds. So we're probably sitting around just under 200 total right now, which is a little heavier than I would say the average racer, but it's not unreasonable, I don't think. We just dropped to 2 bars, so this will be interesting. I'm really curious to see what the board battery death symptoms are. And we just got a board battery voltage 10%. We're on the last bar. Keep in mind, 2P pack, really not a lot of amps to go around. We're cruising at about 23 right now with 1 bar left. Let's see what happens. Despite being at 1 bar, we still have a decent bit of speed. I'm curious what voltage this actually is, because it's gotta be pretty low. Ugh, man, this deck is not built for street riding. My feet feel pretty funny. Ugh. Certainly no cloud like the Agent is, in comparison at least. Cloud in a good way. To be honest though, when I'm on a track, this deck doesn't hurt my feet too much. It's not comfortable, but it's not bad either. Probably a little bit better than the V5 or V6 metal decks, but well, we made it to the top of the hill. So we're gonna go down rolling resistance hill, probably using like almost no throttle. And then we're gonna get to the bottom on vibration bridge, start up the hill, and it's probably going to die on the hill. That is my assumption right now. So we'll see what happens. We're rolling at about 28 miles an hour right now. No throttle, just rolling. Pretty good rolling resistance, to be honest. And here's the bridge. Quickly dropping to 23 miles an hour. Let's find the throttle. There it is. And we're starting up the hill. Holding, we're gonna try and hold 20. We're at 21 right now. Let's see what it can do. Holding 20, 19, let's bring it back up. 21. This last bar of battery is hanging on longer than I expected. Still 20. Keep in mind, there's some boards that can't even make it up this hill at 20. So holding 20 on the last like 7% of battery is not bad. But it is a race board with a very powerful ESC. So, oh, there we go. We're getting some power cut off. Maxed out throttle, 18 miles an hour, 0 bars of battery. Will we make it up there? Because if we do, the batteries will unsag a little bit. And we should be able to go another, like, I don't know, half a mile. The remote says 12.7 right now. I think it's a little less than that. But I think we're gonna make it to the top of the hill. Nice. The less distance I have to carry it on my back, the better. I actually forgot you can look at voltage on here. I highly doubt you're gonna be able to see this because of the flickering, but it says 49.7 volts, which is some amount per cell, 16. 49.7 divided by 16. I'll put it on the screen. But it's good information to know. You get to that just by pressing the settings button once. We're still just hanging on, 14 miles an hour. And Strava says we're at about 11.9 miles. See how long this lasts. Remember, the rule's 3 miles an hour. All right, we reached 3 miles an hour. That's all she wrote. It's still going, but there's no point. So, there we stop. Let's see what the voltage is. 48.1 volts.
I started rambling something about 2 times 16 here. What I was trying to calculate in my head was 2.6, the absolute minimum for lithium ion, times 16. But in reality, what actually happened here is the board was at exactly 3 volts a cell. So good to know what the cutoff is in your head, but there you go.
All right, so we're sat here on the side of the road. I need to swap to my other board, but we ended up with a total 12.25 miles for the MLR range test. Now, I will say I've gotten more than that on the track, I believe, but not a lot more. And this is pretty much what I expected. I know that this this score is probably going to dip the P-spec a little bit, but I feel like this is fair and useful. The remote says 13.3 miles, so we know that that's a little bit off. When we're talking about range tests like this, I do tend to trust the GPS. It's generally pretty accurate, and a lot of the times the exact ratio on the remotes can be off by a little bit as the tires wear and due to your weight on the board and stuff like that. So, not a bad result, to be honest. 12.2 miles, and let's see how much elevation gain. 539 feet, which, to be honest, you're not really gonna have any elevation gain on most tracks. So this is a probably worst case scenario. Also, I mean, realistically, no one is going to stay on the track past like 30% battery because it's just not useful anymore. And you can't be going like 10, 15 miles an hour on the track because you're a hazard to everyone else. So regardless, that's what we got for the range test on the MLR. Review coming soon, and this data was the last thing I needed to make that review. So make sure you get subscribed and stay tuned for that. Hit the like button if you like this range test, and stay safe, keep on riding, and peace out.